motion is an acknowledgement that education has undergone a revolution in these last several years, and now is the time to take the next step, which is towards grammar school places here in Thurrock. Competition and diversity in the education market has been proven to be a good thing. Having schools compete against each other for who has the best to offer for students has generated much needed competition, and it is that that drives up quality, that desire to attract students to your school, ergo protect your own funding. Thurrock boasting everything from preschools, maintained schools, academies, studio schools, special needs schools, and so on, is one of the reasons that we have made such strides. We remember the headlines, third worst access to good primary school places in the nation. We are now in a position where I believe the majority of our schools are rated as good. That is a remarkable turnaround. The next logical step then to our local marketplace is to have access to grammar school places here in the borough, yet another form of diverse education, forcing that competition, forcing all providers to up their game. The Blair government banned the creation of new grammar schools, and I think that was a regressive move. The truth is, social mobility took a hit as a result. We used to have Prime Ministers from humble backgrounds, Heath, Wilson, Major, humble backgrounds, but access to grammar schools. That's what took John Major from a council house in Brixton to Downing Street. But now we only have the Blairs, the Browns, the Camerons, people who can afford excellent education to stretch them in those critical formative years. If you're academically gifted at a young age, then you don't have a tailored route for you, by and large, if you can't afford to pay for it. That is why we've seen this social mobility decline nationally. Now, we all know what some of the arguments are about grammar schools. Are they elitist? Well, our opinion on whether they're elitist is neither here nor there. It is down to a parent and student to decide if a particular school is right for them. Our personal opinion is in irrelevance. And on the issue of is selective education a positive thing? Well, we already stream in schools anyway based on ability. So some form of selective education already happens in virtually every single school in the country. So I find those arguments to be purely ideological. The current government allows all good schools to expand. This essentially means one school opening a new campus as an annex. The first new grammar school campus has now been approved in Kent. If more are going to be created, then let's make sure that Thurrock is not the borough that is left out. How can it be fair that some of our neighbours, some of their children will have access to places that our students don't? That would be genuine inequality. A borough that does have access to these schools, and we have to tell our children there is no provision for you. We have approximately 96 students at the moment who have grammar school offers, and they have the burden of having to leave Thurrock to go to one of these grammar schools. Our students have to fight tens of thousands of students from right the way across Kent and Essex for currently 13 grammar schools that some of our students do go to, opposed to having their own local campus to aspire to. That puts them at an automatic disadvantage, and it's no wonder there's so much competition. This year, Southend boys, just up the road, 58% of all grades they gave out were A's or A stars. That's staggering. There is a clear need and appetite for annexation, and we should rise to that opportunity. Now is the time to act. It will take obviously time to find a provider, for deals to be struck, accommodations to be made, but I'm confident that Thurrock, with its regeneration and growth opportunity, we will be an attractive proposition for a grammar school, and we will be able to make a deal in due season. Social mobility is dependent on the access to the best educational opportunities for everyone that is right for you. And educational excellence is about having choice in the marketplace. And that's totally at odds with opposing certain types of school on ideological grounds. And being pro-grammar school is not being anti-mainstream school. Except for university, all my education was mainstream Thurrock education, because that was right for me. We should not be denying others' children an opportunity because we personally don't like those providers. Every student should have a choice and aspiration, and all healthy marketplaces work on that basis. Our students should have a genuine menu to choose from, And that is what we're moving towards this evening. I would urge all my colleagues to vote in favour.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Holden, for this motion. I respect your commitment to education within Thurrock and see the spirit behind this, but I will not be supporting it for a number of different reasons that I will just outline. Firstly, I don't think it's necessary for us as an authority to actually be pro-grammar school for a number of reasons. Firstly, obviously legislation prevents us as a local authority from opening schools in the first place. There was no commitment to new grammar schools in the 2015 manifesto of the current government, and indeed in the Queen's speech, the first one of a solely Conservative government since '96, there wasn't any provision for new grammar schools to open, so I don't know why we should be taking on that. Secondly, I worry about taking on pet projects. Schools which have merits, but when you take them on as pet projects, that sometimes unintended consequences come out, such as with the free school programme, where we've seen free schools open in areas where there are surplus places. We've seen free schools divert money away from other budgets, and I worry that this could be an unintended consequence of being pro a particular type of school. For myself, both as someone like Councillor Holden, who is educated in Thurrock, and my own children will be educated in Thurrock, I really have two criteria for the type of school that our local authority should be pushing. Firstly, they should be in areas where they are needed, where the places are needed, and secondly, they should be good or outstanding as an absolute minimum. So I don't think we should tie ourselves to one particular structure. I think we should actually move away from structure and talk about standards. So for me, a motion I would like to see really would be that we are pro good and outstanding schools and desire that all Thurrock children attend one. We should actively pursue excellence, and we should look into ways that ensure that our current schools all succeed and carry on in their journey of improvement. So I thank you for the spirit of the motion, but I will be voting against it. Thank you, and thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure that I can be as gracious as Councillor Kerry. I'm frankly amazed that Councillor Howard's colleagues have allowed him to go ahead with this motion. It flies in the face of Conservative Parliament policy. Even his own national leader has described grammar school debate as pointless and sterile. But I guess, on reflection, that it is just further evidence of Thurrock Conservatives lurching even further to the right. Instead of proposing something that would without doubt damage each and every one of our secondary schools, he and his colleagues should continue with their current policy, something which I applaud. Their policy of talking up Thurrock schools and singing their praises where and whenever possible, and backing our policies of close consensual working in supporting our current schools. There is little doubt, Madam Deputy Mayor, that this approach is working. Thurrock schools, academies, free schools, maintained schools are improving and delivering a good standard of education for our young people. Councillor Howden argues that is a result of competition driving up standards. I have to say that it's the same across the country, where standards are not rising at the same pace as Thurrock. What's working here in Thurrock is actually collaboration between schools, collaboration that this authority is holding the ring on and is leading on. Councillor Howden raises the old canard of parental choice. Parents don't have choice in this system under this government or any other government. What they have is the right to express a preference. And in selective education, which is what grammar schools are, it's selective education, it's the schools that select the pupils, not the other way round. Select the best 10% and forget about the other 90%. Is Councillor Howden really suggesting that instead of building on the amazingly good work undertaken and completed by our own secondary schools and academies, we should turn to some unknown outside organisation and invite them to come into our borough, stealing the top 10% of pupils away from the current schools where they prosper? Is he really suggesting that the great work that's being done by local heads, such as Nicola Graham, Harris Academy Chapel 100's head teacher, who just last week was given the accolade of Head Teacher of the Year for secondary education in our education awards, is somehow not good enough and should have to compete with an ideologically based new competitor unfamiliar with the borough and its people? I think I need to explain how education works in this country at the moment. The local authority is responsible for ensuring there are sufficient school places in the borough. If there are not sufficient places, the authority needs to commission new places. We can do that by allowing and helping good, outstanding schools to expand, or by working with partners to create a new free school, something that we're currently doing to meet the needs of the expanding population of the west of the borough, where we're working with the Harris Foundation to provide a free secondary school. Does Councillor Howden actually understand that the impact of his motion this evening, were it to be agreed, would be to put that work with the Harris Foundation on hold whilst we tout ourselves around looking for a selective school from outside the borough to come in and take the place of Harris? Is that what he really wants? And I'm really curious, genuinely curious, to know how the next time he speaks with the heads of his local schools, Gablehall, St Clair's, and even his old alma mater, Hasselbrook, how he'll explain to them his plan to cream off their best pupils and to cream off the money that follows them. So when there is a need to expand the number of secondary school places in the borough, I am clear that we should be looking to our current schools, those who have proved their dedication and understanding of Thurrock, not to some elitist organisation more interested in enhancing their own reputations than helping the young people in Thurrock. Madam Mayor, I will be voting against this proposal, and I urge everyone here who has the best interest of Thurrock schools and Thurrock's young people to do the same.
Yeah. I'm amazed at what I just heard from that side over there. I don't think Councillor Hall has at all said we should stop doing what we're doing and get rid of all the schools and what we've done in this area. He's not said that at all. He's asking for education excellence to fit into our regeneration opportunities here in Thurrock. He's already said we have, I think he said, 96 students that travel to a grammar school. Well, why not have that option for them here? But the question I'll throw back over to Councillor Kent and even Councillor Kerry is, you have to explain to me, or if you're going against this motion, why you wish to actually disadvantage Thurrock children. Because to have that choice, and there is a choice, you're going to take it away, or you're going to not even think about looking at it. I don't think this motion is saying that we should stop doing what we're doing, but this is something else. This is an added extra that we should look at.
I will be supporting this motion because, after all, the Conservative Party have adopted a UKIP party policy on this particular motion, which is quite surprising because, as my colleague to my right did say, that it's not their Prime Minister's policy at all, nor is it in fact Nicky Morgan's policy. So it's quite refreshing to hear that local Conservatives taking up UKIP policies for a change. So yeah, I mean, I don't see that being pro a grammar school, it's not saying we're going to go out and acquire one straight away, it's letting grammar schools know that yes, you know, we are available, we will look favourably upon some sort of approach should you wish to make one. So yeah, I mean, basically it's our party policy, so we will be supporting.
To the group, it didn't take an awful lot for us to be convinced, not at all. It is, as it's been mentioned a number of times tonight, this is about choice. I can remember when the academy system came in, oh no, this won't work, and this won't improve anything, we'll end up with the same. Actually, it's not. We've ended up with more good and excellent schools, and I agree with Councillor Kerry wholeheartedly. Every one of them should be at least a good, preferably an excellent school in Thurrock. But this is just about giving that extra choice. If you listen to Councillor Kent's description, you'd think there'd be someone from these schools going around like some form of intelligent child catcher, scooping them up off the streets and saying, right, put on a new blazer, you're going to come with us. Don't worry about going to the school that you want to go to. It's going to be nothing like that. It's about giving parents that extra choice. Those parents are not in a position to actually get their children to somewhere in Kent or in Brentwood or wherever it is to go for grammar school. It's just not right that we would hold back that opportunity. We are a borough, as we heard, going through a lot of regeneration. Why shouldn't we just add this extra arm to our education needs in Thurrock? Stop shipping out 100 pupils or thereabout each day to grammar schools and have them kept right here where they can learn the same level they would do elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor motion tonight. I think what people miss when they talk about grammar schools is that they're very focused on the children, very few children who will go to them. These are children who will probably, it's statistically shown, to be from more advantaged households. They will be coached, they will be mentored, and they will be tutored. It's a big industry, 11 plus coaching out there, and particularly in places like Kent and Southend, I know of people who are actually doing that for their children because they can afford to. The debate with grammar schools is actually about the children left behind, and I do not accept for one moment that there is not an academic route through comprehensive school education, because there's a number of folk in this room who have followed it in Thurrock schools that at the time were not feted, were not celebrated, were not applauded. There is an academic route through our schools, and to suggest there's something wrong with them, or that they're doing something wrong, or they're not providing something for that, I think it's a really big insult to them and their hard work. I also think, and I am quite surprised that this comes to Councillor Horn, because I think he has done some interesting work on education, and I'm surprised that Conservative members are backing it as well, because I don't believe that telling children their failures at the age of 10 is a particularly good thing for children's welfare or well-being. That is something that goes with children for life. As someone who works in education, I know the effect that telling children their failures at 10 has. We should be moving away from testing children at the age of 10, not more of it with greater pressure that their entire future depends on it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Barbara Rast.
Thank you very much, Deputy Madam Mayor. Some of you may realise I'm old enough to remember the old grammar school system and the secondary modern.
Only just.
Sure. And quite frankly, that was a system that was absolutely disadvantaged those people that didn't go to grammar schools. Let's have it on the line. And we don't want to go back decades and decades to relive that kind of struggle that kids that went to ordinary schools, as we called them, secondary modern, had, even though in some instances, by the time they were 13, they were far more advanced intellectually than those that were able to go to grammar school, because often their parents were much more advantaged and absolutely didn't even come up to the grades that the kids in the secondary modern schools did. It was a system of disadvantage, and I certainly don't want to go back to that. We've got to have equality in education in the same way as we do for health. And I would like to ask this one question. Do you know one child in Thurrock that's been disadvantaged in the last 6 years with our schools improving? And if they have, then there's a case to answer to. And then we may consider a different form of education. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And, it's a very interesting debate we have this evening, because I think there's a slight misunderstanding of what the motion says. To me, what the motion is proposing is choice, another option for parents to choose, not restricting the correct options that parents have. So to me, just like current schools, even almost every school has a sort of system of identifying the brightest and best. Some schools call it gifted and talented. Some schools, they go through their list and identify those who are top of that and give them extra lessons. They also identify those who are bottom of the list and give them extra lessons. To me, this is another step in that area. It's giving parents the option to say, oh, I might send my child to a local authority school or an academy, or if possible, a grammar school. What's wrong with that? It's not about playing politics with it. It's about providing various choices for the children of Thurrock. And if this allows more children from Thurrock to go to Russell Group universities, and we...
Hot, doesn't it? I just think we should be giving our children every chance out there. If there's some possibility they can go to an add-on to the school to make it better, surely there's job. I don't agree with Councillor Coffey that it's disadvantage or advantage of where you come from. That's got nothing to do with it. It's the child. If the child wants to learn and wants to go on, that should matter, and the parents want to bring that child on. There are many children in this borough that really want to get a better education, and I think we should be looking a bit more visionary than we are and just giving a chance to children. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Seager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I'm actually sitting next to someone whose father was a docker, his mother is secretary, but he managed to go to grammar school. You know, well, I just think the whole motion has totally been taken out of context. It is just adding power to our elbow, giving another option. I don't believe people are disadvantaged if we have a grammar school, but actually Councillor Rice asked us, did we have any disadvantaged children in Thurrock? Yes, we do. We actually have those who are in our care system. Our children that are in care are not doing as well as others across the borough. And so we have got a failing section, and we ought to look at those as well. But yeah, if you look at the results this time, again, they're failing. I know that's nothing to do with what we're talking about with the grammar school today, but our looked after children is abysmal. What happens to them?
The confusion about the motion and what has been said by councillors on the other side of the chamber. I mean, I'm going to take the first point about people in the care system. If you honestly think people who've been through the care system are going to have the opportunity to go to a grammar school, I think you just have no idea about the reality of where we are. And I think also
Members, please, you listen to Councillor Holloway. Well, you've had your chance. It's now Councillor Holloway's turn. Please listen.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. And you talk about the opportunities that are going to be provided and how it's about choice. It has absolutely nothing to do about choice. And as Councillor Kent and Councillor Pothecary have mentioned, it's the school that chooses the pupils, and it's the 10% best, and then the 90% are lost. So what you're effectively saying is that 90% of Thurrock young people weren't good enough, have been judged not good enough to go to a grammar school. And I also note the point when you shake your head that it doesn't disproportionately favour those from well-off backgrounds. The House of Commons library briefing actually says the number of pupils eligible for school meals attending grammar schools are 2.6%, as opposed to the 15% amongst other schools. So I think the evidence speaks for itself.
Yeah, that both the Conservatives and UKIP want to take us back to the dinosaur years of 1974, when grammar schools were abolished. The grammar school we had in this borough was abolished in 1974. It went. Because I can remember that because I was the first year into the Palmer's Sixth Form College. And I now, along with my Conservative colleague across the floor there, we sit on a board, and we're proud to see Palmer's Sixth Form College take children from very good schools in this borough and go on to Oxford and Cambridge. So we already have our youngsters achieving this, and yet the Conservatives and UKIP want to take us back. They want to divert resources, scarce resources, away from the public sector into a select elite, because that's what grammar schools were, and that's what they were proven to be, a select elite. And for those reasons, I certainly couldn't support this motion.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I had the privilege of a secondary modern education. I would like to have had the opportunity of a grammar school education, so I would like to have gone to a school that would focus and allowed me to actually knuckle down and learn something. Now, I learned a lot in the secondary modern education. It wasn't all good. The thing with grammar school system is, that I see it, is we can identify the really, really good people that need to be future scientists, future engineers, the people that will lead the country. We need to identify them from an early age. We don't need some of the voices from back here. Their attitude will hold them back. Now, those people need to be advanced, because we really need to seriously compete with the rest of the world and identify the best at the earliest opportunity. And that will be kids from council houses. There will also be kids from poor education backgrounds whose parents never had that opportunity, but they can have that opportunity. And they really need to be driven forward. They don't need to be going to schools where they could be held back, they could be bullied or anything like that. They need to go into a proper learning environment. And I can say, I wish I had that. And you guys and girls back there, you are actually trying to stop those kids from going forward. You sound like you're something from communist Russia, the way you speak.
Yeah.
Indeed, today.
I think one of the points that's been made over there is that Councillor Horden isn't trying to do down the existing education system by proposing grammar, he's proposing choice. We live in a constrained environment of resources, and Gerald was the first person to mention that we live in a constrained time of resources, financial, development opportunity. We also live in a constrained resources of political capital. By setting this message here, by having this motion that says we will do this, I think it does send a very clear signal to the rest of the schools that we're trying to bring in, to the educators that we want to bring in, that we don't think are good enough. And I have to say, I do have...
Also, to the rest of the chamber, who, when it comes to education, I think what we all do is we all have passion. And I think Councillor Kent, whether I agreed or didn't agree with what he said, he spoke with passion, because it's about the education of our children. We all say that we want the best for our children, we want the best for the children of Thurrock. So why would we stand in the way of opportunity? And that's what we'll be doing if we vote against this motion today. It's been proven that grammar schools provide opportunities for students from low incomes, not quash it. Without these families want to escape the poverty and gain a high standard of education, and they haven't got recourse to the fee-paying sector. And in fact, if you go and have a look at the Oxbridge intake from state schools, it's decreased since grammar schools were largely abolished. Choice, opportunity and choice. Unfortunately, not all schools are the best fit for an individual child. Not one size fits all, it doesn't. So why on earth would we stand in the way of the opportunity to give our children the best chance in life? Look, there's lies and statistics. We all know that. We can all look through the statistics and say, oh, there's a pro for this and a con for this at grammar school. But all we're doing here is we're asking to actually pursue and explore the opportunities for grammar schools. That's all we're doing. We're not asking for a new grammar school. We're asking to pursue and explore the opportunities for grammar schools to expand into Thurrock. I want the best for my children, and I know you want the best for the children in Thurrock. Oh, why on earth can't our looked after children be brilliant enough to go to a grammar school? I thought that was a disgusting option. Our children in the looked after sector are going to get the best education. We have said they're going to get the best education. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be supporting this because when I said to my 16-year-old daughter, what would you think would be an advantage of going to a grammar school? She said to me, well, Mum, if you're really clever at a secondary school, she said, you get bullied for being a boss. I don't want to see that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Generally quite an enjoyable debate, although I would rather that the Labour Group just designate Councillor Kerry as the official shadow to me, because I rather enjoy his responses to my motions. The rest of you, not so much. First of all, just addressing Councillor Kent's points. Am I lurching to the right? I'm a centre-right politician. If I go a little bit more right more often, that shouldn't really surprise you. Your comment, should we forget about the other 90%? Well, first of all, people hit their academic strides at different ages. So this outdated notion that at the point of the 11 plus you cream off the very best, that is patently not true. Look at any volume of data statistics, not every child hits their peak at the same age. You are not creaming the best. That is wrong. In terms of we should continue doing what we're doing, close working relationships, praising schools, there's a reason I hosted the Education Services Committee at Gable Hall last week, because I wanted members to actively see the brilliant work that is being done with Corringham Primary. I'll be in Hassenbrook, my old school, tomorrow night to present their awards. I don't need to be given lectures by you about praising good schools. Ideological based attacks, I kind of remember what happened when we had academies come along and how they were savagely assaulted by that lot, being told that academies were grammar schools by stealth.
The borough was under a Labour council.
Lord Davis is a fine man, although I'm saying he's wandered off from the block. We'll put other schemes at risk. No, we won't. Just want to cover Councillor Kerrick's comments. I do appreciate you trying to save my political soul. Remind me, it's not Conservative Manifesto Pledge to create new grammar schools. You are quite correct. It is Conservative Manifesto Pledge to allow all good and outstanding schools the opportunity to expand. And it so happens that some of the best schools in the nation are grammar schools, so it's fully compliant with the Conservative Manifesto. Your point that it should be our policy that all schools should be good or outstanding, well, that's already part of the cross-party corporate plan that this side of the chamber voted for. Being pro-grammar school, I don't think means that you're anti-maintained school. Couple of points, Councillor Apothecary. I think there is a genuine conversation that needs to be had about coaching for 11 plus, because it is factually correct. There are some people who can afford coaching and other people can't. So perhaps there is actually an argument there in terms of the age at which it is allowed to be done. But you can't actually forget, many schools select based on sports and engineering achievement anyway. So selecting based on academic is simply the next step. And I would actually say, Councillor Garish, your university education, Cambridge? Was it Cambridge or Oxford? Cambridge. Oxbridge University, excellent elite institution, extremely selective institution, expensive institution. Do I decry you of an excellent education? No. You should be held up as an example. I don't particularly think that's what grammar school. The point is, the point is that you don't bring people up by dragging other people down. Should we say that all universities should be dumbed down because Oxford and Cambridge are high performers? No, you should hold up the high performers. That is how you improve education across the piece. Other universities have improved by looking at the example of universities like Cambridge. Other schools have improved by looking at examples of grammar schools. Madam Mayor.